Now, in Algeria, magistrates are on an indefinite strike, which has led in particular to the postponement of judgment in a trial for some persons that were arrested from protest, and invariably has now caused a prolonged detention for them. So why are the magistrates in the country on strike, and what are the issues concerned?
Indeed, Jerry, our correspondent Tariq Hafid joins us this morning. The National Union of Magistrates, which called for the strike last Sunday, is protesting the executive power's control over the judiciary. And while the judges are on strike, there is concern. Hello, Tariq. While the judges are on strike, there is concern in the courts of the capital, Algiers.
While
the judges are on strike, there is concern in the coast of the capital, Algiers, where the detainees of the Hirak of the Amazing Flag are still waiting for their judgments. And the strike initiated by the National Union of Judges had a significant impact on the functioning of the judiciary, and not only in the capital, but also in all courts and tribunals in the country. A limited number of judges have been in the courtrooms in recent days. In Algiers, for example, 6 prisoners who are waiting for the verdict to be announced on Wednesday find themselves without a court ruling because of the strike. After days in detention in court jails, they were finally taken back to the El Haraj prison. On 22nd October, the public prosecutor had requested against them 2 years in prison and a fine of 100,000 dinar. This kind of situation could happen again in the coming days if this strike continues. The disengagement of judges also affects the daily lives of citizens. Some documents are issued by the courts and must be signed by the judges, such as criminal records and certificates of nationality. The National Union of Judges, in a press release issued at the beginning of the strike, specified the judges' action would be limited.
Tariq, owing to this strike, there is now concern amongst parents of the detainees that they will no longer have access to the prisons. How real or true is this, and why?
Yes, it is. There are visiting permits granted to the families of detainees that must be signed by magistrates. The same applies to the communication permits granted to lawyers who have to go to prison to work for their clients. Then the situation is even more complicated when the cases of litigants have been referred to the indictment chamber by order. The communication permits are then signed by the public prosecutors who are also on strike, in the same way as their fellow judges. The National Committee for the Release of Prisoners of Opinion, which has been very active since the first arrests of citizens, has condemned this situation, which deprives people of certain rights. This committee also condemns the concept of a strike initiated by the syndicate, the Magistrates, which has decided to paralyze the judicial system throughout the country, but remains at the disposal of the authorities for the organization of the presidential election on 12th December. It should be noted that in Algeria, judges have an important role to play in the electoral process. Finally, Tariq, can you remind us of the circumstances that led to the magistrates to go on strike? It all began on 22nd October with a statement from the Superior Magistrate Council, the body responsible for managing judges' careers, which announced major transfers in the judiciary. The transfers affected 3,000 magistrates, half of the body of this society. A first in the country's history, it should be noted that the High Council of the Judiciary is exceptionally chaired by the Minister of Justice, since the Constitution does not grant any prerogative to the interim head of state in this specific case. These changes, decided at this time of the year, have caused a wave of anger in the judiciary. The reaction of the National Union of Judges was immediate. They decided on unlimited strike until the cancellation of this vast movement. Since then, the Minister of Justice, Balkasem Zegmati, and the Magistrates Union have not seen eye to eye. Public opinion is very critical of this situation. Judges are accused of hiding behind democratic demands, particularly with regard to the independence of the judiciary, while their strike is above all linked to their career management and personal comfort.